thank you for joining us once again on African Free Press Television for another edition of Discuss Nigeria. And it's always very interesting, obviously, when we talk about our dear nation, Nigeria. I still remain Leo Oketa, your host. And today we'll be taking, obviously, on some important issues in the Nigerian polity, like we normally do. Over the past couple of weeks now, we've been talking about the ministerial nominees, the unfortunate demise of the former governor of Bayelsa State, and then other things. We still come down to some of those things, especially the ministerial nominees, which obviously we know is still going on. With me to take on some of those issues in the studio today is Mr. Nonso Ozoemena, who is a youth activist. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and just like I said, it's very interesting when we talk about Nigeria. Let's start with the one we know is the lead story in the media and in the country now, obviously, the ministerial nominees, the way the Senate is going about it. And let's say today, or hopefully today, we should be seeing someone like the former governor of Rivers State coming in. What has been your assessment through and through of the screening that has gone for the past 2 or 3 weeks, so to say?
Yeah, I will probably say that I'm totally disappointed with the screening because it falls below par expectations of the Nigerian people. And if you're conversant with the social media, you can actually see what is trending right now. You know, the hype and the dramatization of the ministerial screening fell below par because a lot of people thought it's probably going to be more tedious and vigorous for the ministerial nominees. But we'll see a situation that it is a kangaroo arrangement whereby people just take a bow and go. Even what I believe is a conventional rule of the National Assembly. But when you see people like Lai Mohammed taking a bow,
that was really dramatic. It was like a comic scene.
Yeah, and it's quite a shame. And I'm going to play down the blame on the opposition senators, which is the PDP, because they're making a whole mockery of opposition. You know, they are not doing their work well as far as I'm concerned. So for me, it's a shambles. The ministerial screening is nothing to write home about. It's business as usual.
Yeah, you come to look at the fact that you have some senators, former senators, coming back to the National Assembly as nominees, per se, and then you find out that, okay, it is like a tradition in the Senate or in the National Assembly that because these guys have track records in the Senate, they should take a bow and go. But if you look at it from the other side, you ask yourself, when that person was in the Senate, what was his contribution? Is it just that his name was embedded as a former senator or as a senator of the Federal Republic per se? Is that enough reason to say that you should not throw daring questions and critical questions to such nominees?
You see, again, it makes mockery of our legislative procedures. We practice a presidential system of government, and we borrow this system of government from the United States of America. And it's always convenient for politicians to quote American or practice of America when it's favorable to them. Now, I want to give you an instance. John Kerry, the present Secretary of State now, was a senator. When he was nominated for the Secretary of State, he stood like over 2 weeks, consistently. There was no issue of taking a bow and go, because these are two different scenarios.
Yeah.
I know that constitutionally, before you qualify to be a minister, you must have the qualities of an honorable member. I totally concur.
Yeah.
But then, there must be some questions.
Yeah, because it's not just about being a member.
Yeah. And that brings us to what most of us are clamoring for: fundamental change in how these things are being run by the government. This present-day government came with a mantra of change. We wanted to see a situation where the ministerial nominees will have the ministries included, embedded in their nomination.
Exactly, so that when questions are asked, what you're asking.
You don't just come and ask a blanket question. When I saw them, screening sheet from Oyo State.
That was...
This is a legal practitioner. Majority of the questions were on spot, and so it becomes, I don't know, his competence on that. So there is a fundamental issue that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, obviously, if you're just joining us, we've been talking critical issues on Nigerian polity with me today in the studio, Mr. Nonso Ozoemena, and we've been taking obviously on the ministerial nominees. Now, we know there is a hot soup somewhere, you know, cooking, like waiting to splash, if I may say that. The case of the former governor of River State, Rotimi Amechi. I believe everybody's waiting to see him come to the National Assembly for him to be screened. And then, unfortunately, the Senate couldn't sit yesterday because obviously the Senate President had to go to visit the CCT. But when you look at it from the perspective that people say that the APC members who have cases to answer in court nobody has ever heard the EFCC invite them for query or at least investigation. Nobody has seen them. Instead, they are being rewarded with ministerial nominee positions and stuff like that. And it now boils down to the Senate, who will screen him to nail some of those things down. How do you see it panning out when Amechi visits the National Assembly?
Again, it's not about people say, it's a fact. You know, the anti-corruption fight has been strictly be directed to the PDP. You can see people like Ababio that can get resources from being invited. Yet we have cases, a clear-cut case. I know they've not been convicted, obviously, Amechi in particular, but then we have a serious case against him. Why rewarding such a person with a minister? Now, Amechi, as you know, has been indicted by a competent tribunal. No, it's not a court, it's a tribunal, yeah. You know, and the white paper gazetted on the state government has been part of the law states that once you are convicted or indicted by any court of inquiry, tribunal of inquiry, you are not qualified to be a minister. I've been issued. So the issue of mention shouldn't arise, and it's just a shame to the kind of politics we are playing, and we are watching and we're looking at them.
To even think that it took us, like, it took, not us anyway, it took the presidency a reasonable amount of time to come up with names like that, because people were clamoring, you know, and others on the other side were saying, wait, let's give them time to show us these are angels, you know, and all of a sudden someone like Amechi.
I want to put people like spokesman of Afenifere, Yinka Odumaki. Yinka Odumaki said this set of ministers are the same set of people that President Mohamed Buhari could have announced on the day of inauguration.
Exactly.
There is no need for 5 months. And it's just shocking. We know it's the prerogative of the president, and I'm not saying those guys are not competent, most of them, you know. But what I'm saying, he doesn't want the delay. Yeah. He doesn't want, I don't know, the hype of scent from someone. Yeah. These are the people we know for crying out loud.
Or maybe, okay, we could say probably some political shuffling was going on somewhere.
It's a matter of political compensation. We now know that the president actually belongs to somebody. The issue of belonging to nobody doesn't arise here.
But he said that he made that he made a very clear statement on his inauguration. That
yeah, he knows, and I believe me, whether you like it or not, I sincerely want to believe President Mohamed Buhari, you know, with every level of sincerity.
But he has to show it.
But exactly, that's what I'm saying. This list is nothing to write home about. I say, go to the media and listen to what people say, and it's not about me. These are facts.
Yeah, that's very interesting anyway. But let's come down to something that is a little bit more tragic. A couple of weeks ago on Saturday, I think that was 30th or so, I might be mistaken with the date, we woke up with the shock of the demise of the former governor of Bayelsa State, D.S.P Alamieyeseigha, who obviously everybody knows how politically strong and rooted he is in the country and obviously in the south. And then just opposing it with the elections, the Bayelsa State elections coming up, how everything has panned out over time. What do you think the absence of this great man will hold for the elections coming?
The vacuum left by His Excellency, dear President Peter Alamieyeseigha, cannot be filled, and it's unimaginable. Even the incumbent governor, Saraki, in his statement, said this is a personal loss. You know, his leadership politics cannot be matched with any John leader whatsoever. And we know he stands on the people of Ijaw vis-a-vis the larger entity called Nigeria. And I know he's going to be of immense. There must be a ripple effect on this as far regards to Bayelsa State election, because his president would have done a lot of wonders. You know, but now even the sympathies are tilting towards the PD. You know, because if you listen to the statement credited to
is that how the politics has gone?
Yeah, the statement as of yesterday, Ijaw Youth Council, even Ijaw Youth Diaspora, they were accusing the APC federal-led government with the British government of complicity involving about Alamieseigha. So if you go to Yenegua now, the sympathy is there. You know, I knew a lot of people in Bayelsa that used to be in APC, but now most of them they will tell you that they're on standby politics for now, because they wouldn't work for PDP, they would not work for APC either. You know, because someone like Alamieseigha to die because of some rumor mongering, or I don't know whether it's factual or not, I wouldn't want to comment on that, but it's a painful loss to the journalists, and I believe they will speak through the power of the ballot papers.
Yeah. All right, that's fine. If you've been if you just joined us, sorry, we've been discussing Nigeria and African Free Press Television. We've been taking on some critical issues, and next on what we want to talk about. You know, when you talk about the Senate without involving Saraki's issue, his trial at the Code of Conduct Bureau, it's always not complete. And yesterday we saw him being accompanied by 81 senators, including the Deputy Senate President, to the CCT. What do you make of all that, and then the adjournments by the appeal court of his trial?
It's just, as far as I'm concerned, it's a sad day for the Nigerian judiciary. It's a mockery of the judicial process of Nigeria, and it's an unnecessary political distraction. You see, anybody that told you that Saraki's case is issue of anti-corruption, we know it's a blatant lie. It's just a political witch hunt. You know, had it been, even the Senate President himself, the very first day he was arraigned, made a statement, and a very remarkable statement. The statement said that he said that if he's not the Senate President today, that he knows probably he will not be here today. You know, and you see, there are some flaws. The tribunal is the lower court to the appeal court. In fact, the tribunal is not a court; it's just a tribunal.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why he doesn't have the. You can see the chairman he doesn't wear the regalia of a judge. You know, the wig. Those are the essential. In fact, let me tell you, just like you see a Reverend Father wearing a jeans and T-shirt without a Roman collar.
Yeah, on the altar.
You can't perform that. You must distinguish some of these things. Now, the law stating Code of Conduct Tribunal made it point blank that there must be a quorum. Ask yourself, how many people are there as the judge? Only one person. You have to have
three.
Yes, exactly. So these are constitutional.
That was part of what Saraki was saying.
Exactly, and you saw what happened with the appeal court judgment. It's just a shame. The judges didn't even come out. They sent a court clerk to come and announce that it's been postponed indefinitely. So you can see the political undertone. I wouldn't want to speak more, because it's a very sensitive issue, because it's in the court of law. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's a political witch hunt. There's nothing like anti-corruption there. Even the so-called federal government witness, Erufai, that said he sold one of the properties of Saraki. Yeah. We should ask him how he got those properties, because I knew Erufai's allowances, salaries, and entitlement throughout the period he was a minister of FCT and formerly the BPP Director General.
Yeah.
Doesn't amount to over 400 million. So ask him how we acquired the property in the first instance to sell it to Saraki.
All right, we're going to place a call to Erufai, obviously, for that. We're going to do that. And I can see my director punching my screen anyway, because of want of time. But just last, before you leave us, Mr. Ozoemena, as a youth activist, what do you have to say to the youth out there going forward? Because as it seems now, we have to wait. The youth has to wait. The youth, we have to wait for the time to come, because since we were born, we've been tagged leaders of tomorrow. We saw the new Prime Minister of Canada the other day, and it's quite shameful to look at it from that perspective. We report it, and at this time we don't have anything to do for ourselves or to say. So what would you tell them out there to keep them going, keep them strong, going forward?
The only advice I have for Nigerian youth is that they should go about trying to source out other means of sustaining themselves, because as far as I'm concerned, the Nigerian government does not have a future for the Nigerian youth. You know, there is total exclusion of Nigerian youth in political appointment, which is a shame. We scrambled for the prior to the 2015 elections. We were agitating for at least 30% inclusion. And as far as we're concerned, in this present government, there is zero allocation of positions to the youth. So I want to use this medium to urge President Muhammad Buhari to please try as much as possible to realize that over 60% of his votes were done by the youth, that he should try to get the youth involved, and I believe we will probably look towards that direction. But meanwhile, Nigerian youth, please source other private sector for fulfilling your
You've heard him, he's your activist. And we've been discussing Nigeria on African Free Press Television with Mr. Nonso Ozoemena, who is a youth activist. We've been talking on some critical issues, the ministerial nominees, the screening going on. We talked on the former governor of Bayelsa State and how his death could be of a huge influence on the elections yet to come. And we talked on the Senate President's trial at the CCT. It's really been good you joining us on this edition of Discuss Nigeria. We hope to have you once again. I still remain Leo Oketa. Please do visit our website at www.africanfreepress.com. Follow us on Twitter at African Free Press and like our Facebook page at African Free Press. See you next time.